Hip-hop didn't crown them on the same day, but history slowly pushed them into the same room. Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole didn't just rise from talent, they rose from intention. Each one came from a different place, with a different mission, speaking to a different kind of listener. Kendrick carried the weight of Compton, telling stories that felt like chapters from a survival manual. Drake blended vulnerability and confidence, turning emotions into chart-topping anthems that crossed every border. J. Cole stood in between, walking the line of introspection and relatability, proving that honesty could still fill arenas. There was no beef at first, only respect, curiosity, and quiet comparison. Fans started asking the question before the artists ever answered it: who really represents the voice of this generation? The seeds of rivalry weren't planted by hate, but by greatness existing too close together. And when three kings sit at the same table, the room always gets tense. Competition in hip-hop rarely announces itself loudly. Sometimes it shows up in verses, in tone, in who gets mentioned and who gets left out. As their careers grew, so did the comparisons. Kendrick sharpened his pen, releasing verses that felt like moral challenges to the culture. Drake responded by dominating numbers, reminding everyone that influence isn't only measured in bars but in reach. J. Cole spoke openly about being caught in the middle, respected by both sides yet unwilling to chase crowns that didn't align with his spirit. Fans dissected every lyric, every interview, every silence. Was that a shot? Was that a response? The rivalry lived more in interpretation than confrontation. It wasn't about diss tracks, it was about philosophy. Art versus impact. Depth versus dominance. Purpose versus presence. And while none of them declared war, hip-hop could feel the pressure building, like a storm gathering without thunder. As time passed, the rivalry shifted from the artists to the audience. Fans didn't just listen, they debated. Social media turned verses into evidence and albums into arguments. Kendrick supporters pointed to substance, storytelling, and cultural responsibility. Drake's fans highlighted longevity, versatility, and undeniable global impact. J. Cole's listeners praised balance, humility, and lyrical consistency. The culture wasn't divided by hate, but by values. Everyone wanted hip-hop to win. They just disagreed on what winning looked like. Meanwhile, the artists stayed focused on their own paths, letting the music speak louder than statements. The quiet war became a mirror, reflecting what listeners cared about most: truth, success, or self-reflection. In that sense, the rivalry wasn't destructive, it was educational. It reminded hip-hop that there's more than one way to be great. In the end, the story of Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole isn't about who defeated who. It's about how hip-hop matured through their coexistence. Each one carved a lane so distinct that comparison eventually became pointless. Kendrick became the conscience. Drake became the connector. J. Cole became the compass. No final diss ended the conversation, because the culture realized something bigger: rivalry doesn't always need a winner. Sometimes it needs balance. Together, they pushed hip-hop forward, challenging artists to be better, listeners to think deeper, and the industry to respect artistry in all its forms. The quiet war never exploded, it evolved into legacy. And that might be the most hip-hop ending of all.